So I've had my iPhone 11 Pro Max since launch day, so for a little over 2 weeks now. I've used it every day pretty much as my daily driver. It replaced my last gen iPhone XS Max, and I finally feel qualified to give you my full review or tell you the truth about this incredibly expensive and complex device. But before we continue here, I'd really appreciate it if you leave a like on this video, comment if you have any questions, suggestions, or opinions, as the algorithm likes that and will help push my content to more people. So without wasting any more time here, let's jump into the truth about the iPhone 11 Pro Max. This video is brought to you by Apos. Beginning with design, the iPhone 11 Pro and the 11 Pro Max have inherited the iPhone X design, which we have seen for the past 3 years, and that's not necessarily a bad thing. This device is very premium feeling. We have a glass and stainless steel sandwich going on, and from the front, as we can see, nothing has changed. We still have a notch going on. The display is still the same form factor as the XS Max, but of course, with every new Apple phone, there are some slight design differences, with one exception this year. First up, we got matte glass on the back instead of glossy. I actually kind of miss glossy glass, but this feels really nice as well. My friend Isaac, you might know him as Canoopsy, likens it to like an aluminum feel, which is pretty accurate. But yeah, I love the feel, and I love the glossy glass contrast which we get with this new camera module. And this is the exception I'm talking about here. Even 2 weeks after I got this phone, I still have mixed feelings about the way this looks. And I'm just going to be honest here, I'm not going to sugarcoat anything. She's not cute. You know, and you can replace she with he, you know, we're not even going to go there. Just, you know, she's not cute, okay? She's like a 3 on a bad day, a 6 on a good day, and that's all I gotta say. It's nothing that great. I'm happy that we have another lens here. You know, we have telephoto, wide, and ultra wide now, but the way they put it together, it just doesn't look, you know, fantastic, I don't think. It doesn't look horrible. I can live with it, but she, he, whatever you want to call it, it's pretty average looking. It shouldn't be a deterrent if you want to buy this phone, but again, I think Apple could have done a better job. The Apple logo has also been placed in the middle of the back here. We also no longer have any iPhone branding, so things look more minimal. Once again, I do like the matte glass. And the last aesthetic aspect I want to talk about is this new midnight green color. I really do enjoy it, simply because it's muted, it's subtle. You know, I actually thought that they accidentally put a space gray phone in the box when I unboxed this. I love the fact that it's just slightly green and not overtly green, because it just blends better with the stuff I wear. And black or space gray, as we know, just kind of goes with everything. But, you know, you get that aspect, that space gray look to it with just a hint of something else. And yeah, I just think it looks fantastic, especially, you know, in proper lighting. You can see just this beautiful midnight green sheen, especially on the stainless steel. I just think it looks really understated and awesome. And last up, let's talk speaker quality. It has been substantially improved, although I wouldn't say significantly. Things are louder and things just sound crisper. That's all I'm going to say, because Apple has implemented, you know, spatial audio, Dolby Atmos. Doesn't mean much to most people, but yeah. Sounds sound clear, music sounds better. It just sounds better and louder. That's all I'm going to say here. It's great for watching YouTube videos and listening to music. So yeah, wrapping things up here with design, obviously it's the same thing we've seen for the past 3 years with some subtle and not so subtle differences, but that shouldn't detract from the value of this phone. If you want to upgrade from something like the 6, 7, 8, you know, any previous phone, then this is definitely going to be an aesthetic jump to you. You know, you get the full screen display, which we're going to talk about, and just this really premium design with stainless steel, this awesome midnight green color, and the really amazing speaker setup that exists within this phone. Next up, let's talk display here. And thankfully, unlike the iPhone 11 here, things are different with the display on the 11 Pro and the 11 Pro Max. It's now the Super Retina XDR display compared to last year's Super Retina display. I hate the naming scheme, but it does have some merit. It's a brighter and it has more contrast, and it's pretty noticeable. When I switch back to my last gen XS Max, I'm talking like it's like this old device. It's not, but you can definitely tell, you know, colors and the contrast and the brightness are just better outdoors, and just looks better when you're watching movies and colorful video and just doing really anything. It's subtle. It's definitely not a feature that you should upgrade for, you know, from the 10 or from the XS Max, but it is an improvement. And again, just like with, you know, the design aspect here, if you're coming from an older phone, this display is going to knock your socks off. It's great for YouTube watching, once again, any kind of media consumption. And stuff on this display just looks super sharp, way sharper than with, you know, the 10R. Let's just be real here, the PPI is higher. We no longer have 3D touch with this display here, and honestly, I am kind of sad, but not super sad, because iOS 13 kind of neutered a bunch of the 3D touch features and kind of implemented them into long presses now. But yeah, once again, this is the best display on an iPhone yet. It's beautiful, big, bright, contrasty, and you're going to love using it once again for media consumption and just navigating the UI. Next up, let's talk battery life here, and this is something that really impresses me about this phone over my last gen 10s Max here. Apple promised, 4-ish more hours with the 813 and the new battery found in here. And I've definitely experienced that. I am a heavy user, I'm always on my phone checking YouTube Studio, watching YouTube, texting people, emailing, web surfing, you name it. And I end the day, probably with like 50% charge remaining. This phone is really excellent that way. You are definitely going to get more screen on time with this gen in comparison to the last gen, especially older phones like, once again, the 6S, 7, 8. It's just incredible. You can get 1 to 2 days here if you are a moderate to heavy user. There's also a fast charger included in the box if you want to use it. I wirelessly charge, but that's a nice feature that Apple, decided to grace us with this, $1,000 plus phone. But yeah, once again, I've had absolutely no problem getting through my day doing the regular stuff that I do, moderate to somewhat heavy usage, video watching, music listening, phone calls, etc. And the screen on time, I just gotta say, is a significant upgrade if you compare it to the last gen, which is, surprising because as we know, most iPhones in regard to battery life haven't been that much of an improvement, with the following iteration, at least from my experience or recollection. You can tell me if I'm wrong, but yeah, the battery life with this phone and the 11 Pro are just amazing. And if you're somebody who is using their phone all day, every day, this is definitely a phone you're gonna wanna consider. Moving on to camera performance, this is where this phone shines. This is the main selling point of the 11 Pro and the 11 Pro Max. We now have 3 individual sensors and lenses here with this phone, with an additional ultra wide. I'm just pointing to whichever, I don't know which one is which, but you get the picture. And yeah, the photo and video taking experience with this device, it's top notch. It might even be the best on the market right now, but we've yet to see, more comparisons between it and the Note 10 and the upcoming Pixel 4, which I'm very excited to cover. In regard to image quality, you get increased sharpness and not in an unnatural way. You get better contrast, improved colors, better dynamic range. Things just look better, even in comparison to the last gen. And of course, in comparison to, older gens from like 2 or 3 years ago, it's gonna be a big step up for you. I also really enjoy the ultra-wide camera, although one gripe I have with it is that the image just looks a little bit more grainy, and somebody left a comment saying that it's attributed to like a smaller sensor size and like a smaller aperture. It makes sense, that they would put more into their wide lens, which most people are going to use anyway for most photos, but beyond that, if the conditions are good, you can get some really awesome shots of landscapes and landmarks, and this lens is super convenient in situations where you physically cannot back up and you need to get more into your shots. So, it's a very utilitarian and creative aspect of this phone's camera setup, and I really do enjoy using it, especially for video, as it gives you this kind of, GoPro look that you couldn't get before. And the telephoto lens, I think, has been improved this year. Things just look sharper with it with photos, and especially video. I was doing a test between my last gen 10s Max and this phone. I was taking a video of a tree, as you can see here, and when we zoom in 2 times, it just looks a lot sharper with the 11 Pro Max. So that is definitely an improvement you can see with your eyes. Apple has also finally implemented a night mode into the iPhone, and yes, they're incredibly late to the party, but this feature is very, very well designed. All the long exposure shots that I've taken look really great. Are they perfect? No, but they look excellent, especially considering the pitiful lighting conditions that they were taken in here. I'm really impressed with the performance here. Once again, even in really, really low light situations, you can pull off some pretty decent looking shots. And I also have yet to try Deep Fusion. That'll be a separate video of mine after I install the iOS 13 something something beta, so stay tuned for that. And in regard to the front camera, this year it is updated. It now has a 12 megapixel resolution. You can record up to 4K 60 video and 1080p at 120 FPS, I believe. So you can get, slow feeds or whatever you want to call it, another horrible name from Apple. And you also get a wider view, so if you want to get more people into your selfies, you can definitely do that, no problem. But yeah, to wrap things up here, the camera performance is substantially better than the last gen and miles better than previous gens like the iPhone 6s, 7, and 8. And yeah, once again, if you're looking to replace a point and shoot or a small, compact camera, if you're taking pictures or videos of your family, if you create with your phone, the 11 Pro and the 11 Pro Max definitely bring the tools to the table in order to do so, and do so really, really nicely. Last up, let's talk performance with this device, and to no one's surprise, the A13 is the baddest ass SoC on the market right now, at least for smartphones, and the Geekbench 5 scores really do make that evident here. But let's evaluate them in order to better understand what you can expect from this device. The single core scores illuminate the fact that just with everyday tasks, in comparison to the last gen, things are not going to be that much different. Apps are going to open at similar speeds. You know, you're going to be able to keep, just as many apps open. I have not noticed too much of a difference just doing everyday stuff with the 11 Pro over the XS Max. If I was to compare the overall, everyday performance in percentages, if the 11 Pro Max is like 100% possible performance, the XS Max is like a 90 to a 95%. It's a very minimal difference and definitely not a reason to upgrade to this phone. But the multi-core scores tell a little bit of a different story here. There is a substantial jump in the score in comparison to last year's A12, and that means that intensive tasks like gaming and video editing are just going to be a better experience with this device here. There's also increased GPU performance, as there always is, so you're going to expect better frames in games like Call of Duty Mobile and other mobile games, which have become more and more intensive. And once again, if you do editing like with LumaFusion or whatever, if you're editing 4K video on the go, if you're that insane and you use your phone to do that, then this phone is just going to be an absolute beast for that. But yeah, I gotta say, in terms of everyday performance, opening apps, switching through apps, navigating through the UI, animations are going to be pretty much the same here. There's a slight increase over the last gen. And I guess my final note is, if you're coming from an older generation of phone, pardon me for reiterating myself here for the umpteenth time, but if you're coming from an iPhone 6, a 6S, a 7, possibly even an 8, the experience with the 11 Pro and the Pro Max, even the 11, watch my review if you're into that, is just going to blow you away. The full screen display, the navigational gestures, those two things really got me back into the iOS ecosystem. In short, I have really enjoyed my time with my iPhone XS Max and the 11 Pro Max consecutively. Once again, this video is brought to you by Apos, a curator of high-quality earphones, headphones, and audio products that are perfect for listening on the move or at your desk. They provide free shipping, a lowest price guarantee, 30-day returns, and a 2-year extended warranty on all their products. On top of their wide selection of wireless and wired devices, they've created a list of wireless earphones that work with the iPhone 11 and 11 Pro for you to check out. Click the link in the video description to learn more. And that about wraps things up here. I hope this video helped you out. Once again, I'd really appreciate it if you leave a like on this video, comment if you have any questions, suggestions, or opinions, and subscribe for more content like this. Expect more iPhone 11 content coming soon, as well as some iPad 10.2 content. I'm going to be comparing that tablet to the iPad Air 3 likely, the iPad Mini, the iPad Pro, etc. And as always, I'm Noah, and I will catch you all in the next one.